First contact, the arrival. The sleek, crystalline ship pierced through Earth's atmosphere, its iridescent hull shimmering like a soap bubble in the fading light of dusk. Inside, Zara, lead xenobiologist of the Luminan Interstellar Research Division, felt a flutter of excitement in her bioluminescent core. After years of observation and careful planning, the moment of first contact had finally arrived. Zara's appearance was striking, even by the standards of her own species. Her translucent skin pulsed with swirling patterns of soft blue light, a visual representation of her nervousness and anticipation. 4 arms, each ending in delicate, 6-fingered hands, deftly manipulated the ship's controls. Her large, multifaceted eyes, reminiscent of a dragonfly's, took in every detail of the approaching landscape. As the ship descended towards a secluded clearing in the Pacific Northwest, Zara reviewed her mission parameters one last time. The Luminans had been studying Earth for decades, fascinated by the planet's biodiversity and the peculiar dominant species that called themselves humans. Now, with the blessing of both the Luminan High Council and a select group of Earth's leaders, it was time for an official scientific exchange. The ship touched down with barely a whisper, the advanced gravitic engines gently dispersing the tall grass in a perfect circle around the landing site. Zara took a deep breath, filling her respiratory sacs with a carefully prepared mixture that mimicked Earth's atmosphere. With a final check of her translator implant, she activated the ship's exit portal. As the portal arised open, Zara was immediately struck by the intensity of Earth's sensory tapestry. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp soil, so different from the sterile, controlled environments of Lumina. A cool breeze caressed her skin, carrying with it a symphony of unfamiliar sounds, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of birds, the gentle babbling of a nearby stream. Zara stepped out onto the soft earth, her 4 legs adjusting to the planet's gravity. Each step sent tiny vibrations through her sensitive feet, providing her with a wealth of information about the soil composition and the myriad of microscopic lifeforms teeming within it. She paused, allowing her eyes to adjust to the fading natural light, so different from the perpetual bioluminescence of her homeworld. In the distance, she could make out a small group of humans approaching. Leading them was a woman with dark hair pulled back into a neat bun, wearing what Zara recognized as a lab coat, a symbol of scientific authority on this planet. As they drew nearer, Zara activated her translator and prepared to speak. "Greetings, people of Earth," Zara said, her voice a melodious trill that the translator rendered into crisp English. "I am Zara, xenobiologist of Lumina. I come in peace and in the spirit of scientific exchange." The woman in the lab coat stepped forward, a warm smile on her face. "Welcome to Earth, Zara. I'm Dr. Elena Rodriguez, lead scientist of the First Contact Initiative. On behalf of humanity, we're honored to host you and eager to begin our collaborative research." As Elena spoke, Zara found herself fascinated by the play of emotions across the human's face. Luminans communicated largely through bioluminescent patterns and pheromones, making the nuanced expressions of human faces both alien and intriguing. "The honor is mine, Dr. Rodriguez," Zara replied, inclining her upper body in a gesture of respect. "I look forward to learning from you and sharing the knowledge of my people." Elena nodded, then gestured to the group behind her. "Let me introduce you to the rest of the team. We have linguists, anthropologists, biologists, and physicists, all eager to work with you." As introductions were made, Zara couldn't help but marvel at the diversity among the humans. Their skin tones ranged from pale to dark, their heights and builds varied widely, and each face was uniquely structured. It was a stark contrast to the uniform appearance of Lunans, and Zara found herself wondering about the evolutionary advantages of such variety. Once the introductions were complete, Elena turned back to Zara. "We've prepared a research facility nearby. It's equipped with everything we think you might need, but please let us know if there are any special accommodations required for your physiology." Zara's skin rippled with patterns of gratitude. "Your thoughtfulness is appreciated, Dr. Rodriguez. I'm sure the facilities will be more than adequate. My ship contains any specialized equipment I might need. As they began the short walk to the research facility, Zara's scientific curiosity overtook her initial nervousness. She began peppering the human scientists with questions about Earth's ecosystems, climate patterns, and the intricacies of human society. The humans, in turn, were equally curious about Lumina and its inhabitants. "Dr. Rodriguez," Zara asked as they walked, "I studied your global communication networks, but I'm curious about the day-to-day interactions between humans. How do you typically exchange information and build relationships?" Elena chuckled, soft, cultural shock, reproduction and relationships. As the Earth's sun peeked over the horizon, bathing the research facility in warm, golden light, Zara found herself once again marveling at the planet's natural beauty. It had been 3 Earth weeks since her arrival, and each day brought new discoveries that both fascinated and perplexed her. This morning, Zara was scheduled to meet with Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Dr. Aidan Chen, the facility's lead anthropologist, to discuss human social structures and reproduction. As she made her way to the conference room, her translucent skin rippled with patterns of anticipation and curiosity. Elena and Aidan were already seated when Zara entered, engaged in casual conversation over steaming mugs of coffee. The scent of the bitter beverage filled the room, a smell that Zara had come to associate with the start of each workday. "Good morning, Zara," Elena greeted warmly. "I hope you're ready for an interesting discussion today." Zara's skin pulsed in acknowledgement. "Indeed, Dr. Rodriguez. I've been looking forward to this session. Human social structures and reproduction methods have been a subject of great interest, and I must admit, some confusion for our researchers." Aidan leaned forward, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. "Well, we're here to clear up any misconceptions. Where would you like to start?" Zara's multifaceted eyes flickered as she considered. "Perhaps we could begin with reproduction. On Lumina, our species has a very specific mating season tied to our planet's orbital cycle. I've observed that humans seem to reproduce at any time. How is this possible, and what are the social implications?" Elena and Aidan exchanged glances, a hint of amusement in their eyes. Elena took the lead. "You're correct, Zara. Unlike many Earth species that have specific mating seasons, humans are capable of reproducing year-round. Our reproductive cycles are not tied to seasonal changes." Zara's skin rippled with shock, the patterns of blue light intensifying. "Fascinating. But how do you manage population growth?" "On Lumina, our strict mating season allows for careful control and planning." Aidan cleared his throat. "Well, that's where things get complicated. Human population control is a mix of individual choice, cultural norms, and sometimes governmental policies. We have various methods of contraception that allow people to engage in sexual activity without reproduction." Zara's confusion was evident in the swirling patterns across her skin. Sexual activity, without reproduction, but what would be the purpose? Elena smiled gently. "For humans, sexual activity serves multiple purposes. Yes, reproduction is one, but it's also a way to express love, strengthen emotional bonds, and simply experience pleasure." The patterns on Zara's skin shifted rapidly, indicating her struggle to process this information. "Love, pleasure? These are not factors in luminal reproduction. Our mating is a biological imperative, carefully matched for optimal genetic combinations. The idea of choosing a mate based on emotional factors is quite alien to us." Aidan nodded understandingly. "Human relationships and family structures are indeed complex. We form bonds based on emotions, shared experiences, and personal choice. These bonds can lead to the formation of families, but families themselves come in many different forms." Zara leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. "Different forms? Please elaborate." Elena took over. "Well, we have traditional nuclear families with 2 parents and their children, but we also have single-parent families, blended families with step-parents and step-siblings, same-sex parents, extended families living together, and even chosen families of close friends. The diversity is vast." The patterns on Zara's skin whirled in a dizzying display of confusion and fascination. This level of variability is overwhelming. How do you maintain social order with such diverse structures? Aidan smiled. That's where cultural norms, laws, and individual ethics come into play. It's not always perfect, but this diversity allows for adaptability and resilience in our societies. Zara was quiet for a moment, her inner lights pulsing slowly as she processed this information. On Lumina, our social structures are rigid and predefined. Each individual's role in society is determined at birth based on genetic markers. The idea of choosing one's path, one's mate, one's family, it's revolutionary. Elena leaned forward, her expression serious. Zara, I'm curious. Given the strict control over reproduction on Lumina, how do you view the concept of love? Does it exist in your society? Zara's skin dimmed slightly, a sign of deep contemplation. Love, as you describe it, is not a concept we're familiar with. We have strong bonds within our birthing cohorts, and we feel dedication to our work and our society. But the idea of choosing an individual to form a lifelong bond with, to potentially reproduce with based on emotional attachment, it's entirely foreign. Aidan nodded thoughtfully. It must be quite a shock to observe human behavior then. Our literature, our art, our music, so much of it is centered around the concept of love and the relationships it creates. Zara's skin brightened again. Yes, I've observed this in my studies of human culture. It's part of what makes your species so fascinating to us. The depth of your emotions, the variability of your relationships, they're so different from our structured, logical approach to social interaction. Elena smiled warmly. And yet, both of our species have thrived in our respective environments. It just goes to show that there are many paths to success in the universe. Zara's skin pulsed in agreement. Indeed, Dr. Rodriguez. I'm beginning to understand that the very chaos and unpredictability that we Luminans once saw as a weakness in human society might actually be your greatest strength. Your ability to adapt, to form diverse bonds, to find new solutions to problems. It all stems from this fundamental aspect of your nature. As the discussion continued, delving deeper into the intricacies of human relationships and social structures, Zara found herself experiencing a profound shift in her understanding of humanity. The concept of love, once an abstract and puzzling idea, began to take shape in her mind as a powerful force that shaped human society in ways both subtle and profound. By the time the session ended, Zara's perception of humanity had been irrevocably changed. She left the conference room with her mind whirling, her skin a canvas of complex patterns reflecting her inner turmoil and excitement. As she made her way back to her quarters, Zara found herself wondering about the implications of this new understanding. If humans could form such strong, voluntary bonds with each other, how might that affect their ability to connect with other species? And more personally, how might it change her own interactions with her human colleagues? Little did Zara know that these questions would soon be put to the test, as an unforeseen crisis loomed on the horizon, one that would challenge the newfound understanding between Lumina and Earth and push the boundaries of both species' capabilities and relationships. The sun was high in the sky now, its warmth a constant reminder of the celestial forces that shaped life on this planet. As Zara looked out at the lush Earth landscape, so different from the crystalline structures of her homeworld, she felt a new appreciation for the beautiful complexity of the universe and the diverse forms of life it nurtured. The journey of discovery had only just begun, and Zara found herself eager to learn more, to understand deeper, and perhaps in her own alien way, to experience something akin to the human concept of love. Crisis on Earth, the solar flare threat. The research facility was abuzz with activity, a stark contrast to the usual calm and methodical atmosphere. Zara could sense the tension in the air, her sensitive skin picking up on the elevated stress pheromones emitted by her human colleagues. As she made her way to the main conference room, she noticed groups of scientists huddled together, speaking in hushed, urgent tones. Upon entering the room, Zara was struck by the grim expressions on the faces of Dr. Elena Rodriguez and the other senior researchers. The large screen at the front of the room displayed a series of complex graphs and images of the sun, its surface roiling with intense activity. "Zara, thank you for joining us quickly," Elena said, her usual warm smile replaced by a look of concern. "We've detected a potentially catastrophic solar event that requires immediate attention." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead astrophysicist, stepped forward. "Our solar observatories have detected an enormous sunspot group developing on the sun's surface. The magnetic energy building up in this region is off the charts. We're predicting a solar flare of unprecedented magnitude, potentially an X50 class or higher." Zara's skin pulsed with patterns of alarm. Her studies of Earth's solar system had included information on solar flares, but nothing of this magnitude. "What are the potential consequences of such an event?" she asked, her translator conveying the urgency in her voice. Dr. James Morrison, the head of Earth's global defense systems, spoke up. "A flare of this magnitude could be devastating. We're looking at potential global power grid failures, satellite disruptions, and communication blackouts. The radiation burst could pose serious health risks to astronauts and even to people on Earth's surface in certain regions." Elena nodded gravely. "We're initiating global cooperation efforts. Every nation is being alerted, and we're pooling our resources to prepare for the impact. But frankly, our current technology may not be sufficient to fully mitigate a solar event of this scale." Zara's mind raced, her inner lights flickering rapidly as she processed the information. On Lumina, they had developed advanced shielding technology to protect their planet from stellar events. Could that knowledge be adapted to help Earth? "I may be able to offer assistance," Zara said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Lumina has faced similar stellar threats in the past. We've developed technology that might be adaptable to Earth's needs." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to the alien scientist. Elena was the first to speak. "Zara, that's incredible. What kind of technology are we talking about?" Zara's skin rippled with patterns of determination. "We've developed a planetary shield that can deflect harmful radiation and charged particles. It's powered by harnessing the energy of our planet's magnetic field. With some modifications, it might be possible to create a similar shield for Earth." Dr. Morrison's expression was a mix of hope and skepticism. "A planetary shield? That's far beyond our current capabilities. How could we possibly implement something like that in the limited time we have?" Zara understood the skepticism. She had spent enough time with humans to recognize their cautious approach to new, especially alien technologies. "I understand your concerns, Dr. Morrison, but I believe that by combining Lumen Shield technology with Earth's existing satellite network and power grids, we might be able to create a functional defense system in time." Elena looked thoughtful. "It's an intriguing possibility, Zara, but you have to understand, accepting help of this magnitude from an alien civilization, it's not a decision we can make lightly. There are political considerations, potential unforeseen consequences." Zara's skin pulsed with empathy. "I understand, Dr. Rodriguez. My offer comes with no strings attached. I'm here as a scientist, and my primary concern is the preservation of life and knowledge. Earth's unique biodiversity and cultural richness are invaluable not just to humanity, but to the broader understanding of life in our galaxy." Dr. Tanaka spoke up, her voice filled with urgency. "We don't have the luxury of time for prolonged debates. Based on our calculations, we have approximately 3 weeks before the solar flare reaches its peak and is ejected towards Earth. If we're going to act, we need to start now." The room erupted into discussion, with various scientists and officials weighing in on the pros and cons of accepting Zara's offer. The alien scientist stood quietly, her skin reflecting the swirling emotions in the room. Finally, Elena raised her hand, silencing the debate. "We need to take this to the global task force immediately. Zara, We'll need you to present your proposal to representatives from Earth's major nations and scientific institutions. Can you prepare a detailed explanation of this shield technology and how we might adapt it? Zara's skin brightened with affirmation. Of course, Dr. Rodriguez. I'll prepare all the necessary information immediately. As the meeting adjourned and the humans rushed off to make preparations, Zara found herself alone in the conference room. She gazed out the window at the peaceful Earth landscape, so different from her crystalline homeworld. In the 3 months she had spent on this planet, she had grown to appreciate its beauty and the resilience of its dominant species. Now, faced with this crisis, Zara felt a strong urge to protect this world and its inhabitants. It was more than scientific curiosity or diplomatic duty. It was something akin to the human emotion of compassion, a feeling that was new and somewhat unsettling to her Luminan sensibilities. As she began to compile the information on Luminan shield technology, Zara realized that this crisis might be more than just a threat to Earth. It was an opportunity, a chance for humans and Luminans to work together, to bridge the vast differences between their species and create something greater than either could achieve alone. The next few weeks would be crucial, not just for the survival of Earth, but for the future of interstellar relations. As the sun continued its ominous buildup of energy, the beings of two worlds would need to come together, combining the logic and advanced technology of Lumina with the creativity and adaptability of humanity. Zara's skin pulsed with determination as she worked. Whatever doubts or political hurdles lay ahead, she was committed to helping Earth face this threat. In doing so, she hoped to demonstrate the true potential of cooperation between their species, a cooperation that could open up new frontiers of science and understanding for both worlds. As the facility around her buzzed with frantic activity, Zara allowed herself a moment of reflection. She had come to Earth to study its inhabitants, but now found herself in a position to potentially save them. The irony was not lost on her, and she felt a new appreciation for the unpredictable nature of the universe, a quality that humans seem to embrace with remarkable resilience. With renewed focus, Zara turned her attention to the task at hand. The clock was ticking, and the fate of a world hung in the balance. But for the first time since the crisis began, there was a glimmer of hope. A hope born from the unlikely alliance between a curious alien scientist and the determined inhabitants of a small, blue planet. Collaboration and innovation. The next few days passed in a whirlwind of activity. After Zara's presentation to the Global Task Force, the decision was made to proceed with the development of the planetary shield. The research facility, once a quiet haven of scientific study, had transformed into the epicenter of Earth's defense efforts. Scientists and engineers from around the world poured into the complex, bringing with them a cacophony of languages, ideas, and technologies. At the heart of it all stood Zara, her translucent skin constantly shifting with patterns of concentration and excitement as she worked to bridge the gap between Luminan and human technology. In a large, hastily repurposed hangar, Zara found herself surrounded by a diverse team of Earth's brightest minds. Dr. Elena Rodriguez coordinated the efforts, her calm demeanor a steadying influence on the frantic energy that permeated the air. "All right, team," Elena addressed the assembled group, her voice carrying over the hum of machinery and rapid-fire discussions. "We have less than 3 weeks to develop and implement a technology that's beyond anything we've ever attempted. We're going to need every ounce of creativity, every spark of innovation we can muster." Zara stepped forward, her alien presence still drawing curious glances from some of the newer arrivals. The key to Luminan shield technology lies in its ability to harness and amplify the planet's natural magnetic field, she explained, her translator conveying the complex scientific concepts with remarkable clarity. "We'll need to find a way to integrate this principle with Earth's existing satellite network and power grids." Dr. Amit Patel, a brilliant physicist from India, raised his hand. "But Earth's magnetic field is significantly weaker than Lumina's, isn't it? How can we generate enough power to create a shield that can withstand an X-50 class solar flare?" Zara's skin pulsed with acknowledgement. You're correct, Dr. Petal. This is where we'll need to innovate. I believe we can compensate for the weaker magnetic field by creating a network of amplification nodes at strategic points around the planet. The room erupted into a flurry of discussions and rapid calculations. Ideas were proposed, debated, and either discarded or developed further at a dizzying pace. Zara found herself continually impressed by the human's ability to think creatively and adapt quickly to new concepts. As the days wore on, however, cultural barriers and misunderstandings began to emerge. Zara's logical, methodical Luminan approach sometimes clashed with the more intuitive, trial-and-error methods favored by many of the human scientists. One particularly tense moment came during a discussion about the shield's control systems. Zara had proposed a centralized, AI-driven approach based on Luminan technology. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, however, argued passionately for a more distributed system that would allow for human oversight and intervention. We can't simply trust the fate of our planet to an alien eye, Dr. Tanaka exclaimed, her frustration evident. We need to be able to make real-time decisions based on our understanding of Earth's unique conditions. Zara's skin darkened with concern, her translator struggling to convey the nuances of her response. The Luminan system has been perfected over centuries. It's designed to process information and react far more quickly than any biological entity could. The argument might have escalated further if not for Elena's intervention. Both of you have valid points, she said, her voice calm but firm. Instead of seeing these as opposing viewpoints, why don't we look for a way to combine them? Perhaps we can create a hybrid system that leverages the strengths of both approaches. This moment of tension proved to be a turning point in the project. It highlighted the need for better communication and mutual understanding between the human and Luminan approaches. In response, Elena instituted daily cultural exchange sessions where team members could share not just scientific ideas, but also aspects of their diverse cultures and ways of thinking. Zara found these sessions fascinating, gaining new insights into human creativity and problem-solving. She learned about the power of brainstorming, the human capacity for intuitive leaps, and the value of approaching problems from multiple perspectives. In turn, she shared Luminan meditation techniques that helped the team maintain focus during long, stressful work sessions. As the deadline loomed closer, the combined human-Luminan team made breakthrough after breakthrough. They developed a network of geomagnetic amplifiers that could boost Earth's magnetic field to the required strength. Satellites were reprogrammed to form a global web that would distribute the shield's protective energy. Power grids across the planet were modified to channel energy to the amplifier nodes. The crown jewel of their efforts was the control system, a true hybrid of human and Luminan technology. It combined the rapid processing and predictive capabilities of Luminan I with an intuitive interface that allowed for human oversight and decision-making. Dr. Tanaka and Zara worked side by side to fine-tune this system, their earlier disagreement forgotten in the shared excitement of creation. As the final days of preparation arrived, Zara stood with Elena at the main control panel, watching as systems across the globe came online. The screen before them showed a representation of Earth, gradually being enveloped in a shimmering protective field. "It's beautiful," Elena murmured, her eyes reflecting the glow of the display. Zara's skin rippled with a complex pattern that her human colleagues had come to recognize as a mix of pride and humility. "It is," she agreed, "but its true beauty lies in what it represents, the coming together of two very different species to achieve something neither could have done alone." Elena turned to Zara, a warm smile on her face. "You know, when you first arrived, I never imagined we'd be standing here, about to face a crisis of this magnitude together. Thank you, Zara, not just for your technology, but for your willingness to work with us, to understand us." Zara's skin pulsed with an emotion that, had she been human, might have been called affection. "And thank you, Elena, for teaching me the true meaning of cooperation and innovation. Lumina has much to learn from Earth in this regard." As alarms began to sound, signaling the approach of the solar flare, Zara and Elena turned their attention back to the control panel. The true test of their collaboration was about to begin, but whatever the outcome, both knew that this crisis had forged a bond between their worlds that would endure long after the danger had passed. The shield hummed to life, a testament to what could be achieved when two worlds united in the face of adversity. As Earth prepared to weather the coming storm, a new chapter in the story of both species was about to unfold, one of unity, innovation, and hope. The day of reckoning. The atmosphere in the control room was electric with tension. Screens lining the walls displayed a mosaic of data: solar wind velocities, radiation levels, shield integrity readings, and live feeds from observatories around the world. At the center of it all stood Zara and Elena, their eyes fixed on the main display showing the approaching solar flare. T-10 minutes to impact, announced Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her voice steady despite the palpable anxiety in the room. Zara's skin pulsed with a mix of anticipation and concern. She had witnessed similar events on Lumina, but never on a planet with such a fragile magnetosphere. All systems are operational, she reported, her multiple arms deftly manipulating the holographic interface. Shield generators are at full capacity. Elena nodded, her face a mask of concentration. Global power grid status, she called out. All regions reporting green, came the response from a technician. We're channeling maximum power to the amplifier nodes. As the minutes ticked by, the room fell into a tense silence, broken only by the steady beep of monitoring equipment and the occasional status update. Zara found herself marveling at the calm efficiency of her human colleagues. Despite the immense pressure, they moved with purpose and determination. T-1 minute, Tanaka announced. Brace for impact. The main screen showed the massive flare erupting from the sun's surface, a dazzling display of cosmic power hurtling towards Earth at millions of miles per hour. Zara's inner lights flickered rapidly, a luminant expression of awe and fear. Shield activation in 3, 2, 1, now, Elena commanded. With a low hum that seemed to resonate through the very core of the planet, the planetary shield sprang to life. On the monitors, a shimmering blue field enveloped the Earth, just as the leading edge of the solar flare made contact. For a moment, everything seemed to be working perfectly. The shield held strong, deflecting the initial surge of charged particles and radiation. A collective sigh of relief echoed through the control room. But then, alarms began to blare. We're detecting fluctuations in the southern quadrant, a technician shouted. Shield integrity dropping to 82% in that sector. Zara's skin darkened with concern. This shouldn't be happening. The shield should be stable across all quadrants. Elena leaned in, studying the readouts. Could it be an issue with the amplifier nodes in that region? Before Zara could respond, another alarm sounded. Radiation leak detected in the upper atmosphere above South America, reported Dr. Morrison, his face grim. If the shield fails there, we could be looking at catastrophic damage to the ozone layer. The room erupted into frantic activity. Scientists and engineers raced to diagnose the problem and find a solution before it was too late. Zara found herself momentarily overwhelmed by the chaos, so different from the orderly crisis management she was accustomed to on Lumina. But then she saw something that made her inner lights pulse with surprise and admiration. Instead of panicking, her human colleagues were adapting, innovating on the fly. Ideas were being thrown out rapid fire, each building on the last. What if we reroute power from the northern nodes to reinforce the southern quadrant? Suggested one engineer. No, that would leave us vulnerable if the flare intensifies, countered another. But wait, what if we modulate the shield frequency? We could create a resonance effect that might strengthen the field without additional power. Zara's mind raced, integrating these new ideas with her knowledge of Luminan technology. Yes, she exclaimed, her translator barely keeping up with her excitement. If we combine that with a recalibration of the amplifier array, we might be able to stabilize the shield. Elena nodded, a spark of hope in her eyes. Do it. Quickly. What followed was a frenzy of activity that pushed the boundaries of both human and luminance science. Zara worked in perfect synchronization with the human team, her multiple arms flying over the controls as they implemented the untested modifications. "Radiation levels in the upper atmosphere are still rising," warned Dr. Morrison. "We're running out of time." Just as it seemed the shield might fail, the new adjustments began to take effect. The fluctuations in the southern quadrant started to stabilize, and the radiation leak in the upper atmosphere slowly diminished. "Shield integrity rising," reported Tanaka, her voice tight with tension. 90%, 95%, 98%. The room held its collective breath as the readings climbed. 100%, Tanaka finally announced, her professional demeanor cracking as a smile broke across her face. "The shield is holding." A cheer erupted in the control room, scientists and engineers embracing each other in relief and joy. Zara's skin rippled with patterns of elation, a luminant expression of triumph and happiness. Elena turned to Zara, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "We did it," she said softly. "Your technology and our adaptability, we made the impossible possible." Zara's inner lights pulsed warmly. "It was your human capacity for innovation under pressure that saved us all. I've never seen anything like it." As the solar flare continued to batter the shield, now held firmly in place by the combined efforts of two worlds, Zara found herself experiencing a profound shift in her understanding of humanity. Their unpredictability, which she had once seen as a weakness, had proven to be their greatest strength. The crisis wasn't over. The solar flare would continue for hours, testing the limits of the shield and the endurance of those maintaining it. But in that moment of triumph, as humans and a lone luminance stood united in the face of cosmic fury, a new chapter in interstellar cooperation had been written. The day of reckoning had come, and humanity, with a little help from the stars, had risen to meet it. As Zara gazed at her human colleagues, still celebrating their shared victory, she knew that the true impact of this day would reach far beyond Earth's atmosphere, echoing across the cosmos and forever changing the relationship between their two worlds. Aftermath and revelations. As the last vestiges of the solar flare dissipated into the cosmic void, Earth emerged from behind its shimmering shield, battered but unbroken. The planet-wide defense system, born from the unlikely collaboration between humanity and a lone luminance scientist, had held firm against nature's fury. In the days that followed, a wave of jubilation swept across the globe. From the neon-lit streets of Tokyo to the sun-baked plains of Africa, people poured out of their homes to celebrate their shared survival. The news channels were awash with images of tearful reunions, spontaneous street parties, and solemn ceremonies of gratitude. At the heart of it all, in the now famous research facility that had become the epicenter of Earth's defense, Zara stood by a window, her translucent skin shimmering with patterns of wonder and reflection. She watched as her human colleagues embraced each other, their faces etched with relief and joy. Elena approached, her usual lab coat replaced by a creased shirt that spoke of sleepless nights and tireless work. "Zara," she said, her voice warm with affection, "you should join the celebration. You're the hero of the hour." Zara's skin pulsed with a pattern that Elena had come to recognize as modesty. "I am no hero, Dr. Rodriguez. I merely provided the initial technology. It was humanity's ingenuity and adaptability that truly saved the day." Elena smiled, shaking her head. "Always a scientist, aren't you? But you're wrong about one thing. You did more than provide technology. You bridged two worlds, Zara. You showed us what's possible when we reach across the stars and cooperate." As if to emphasize Elena's point, a group of scientists approached, led by Dr. Tanaka and Dr. Morrison. Their faces, once etched with skepticism at the idea of alien assistance, now shone with respect and camaraderie. "Zara," Dr. Tanaka began, her voice uncharacteristically emotional, "we owe you a debt of gratitude. Your willingness to share your knowledge, to work alongside us, it made all the difference." Dr. Morrison nodded in agreement. I'll admit I had my doubts at first, but seeing you in action, the way you adapted your technology to our needs and embraced our methods, it's opened my eyes to the true potential of interstellar cooperation. Zora's inner lights pulsed with an emotion that, had she been human, might have been called humility. You give me too much credit, she said. If anything, this experience has taught me the true strength of humanity. Your ability to innovate under pressure, to come together in the face of adversity, it's unlike anything we have on Lumina. As the conversation continued, more people joined the group. Scientists, engineers, and support staff from around the world, all eager to share their experiences and express their gratitude. Zora found herself at the center of a whirlwind of human emotion, a cacophony of languages and expressions that would have overwhelmed her just a few months ago. But now she embraced it. She had come to Earth as an observer, a detached scientist studying an alien species. She was leaving as something more, a friend, a collaborator, a bridge between two worlds. As the impromptu gathering grew, Elena called for attention. I think it's time we heard from our Luminan friend, she said, gesturing to Zara. What are your thoughts on all of this, Zara? What will you tell your people when you return home? Zara's skin rippled with thoughtful patterns as she considered the question. When she spoke, her voice was filled with a newfound conviction. I came to Earth seeking knowledge about your species, curious about how a seemingly chaotic and emotionally driven civilization could achieve so much. What I found was not chaos, but a beautiful complexity. Your emotions, which we Luminans often saw as a weakness, are the source of your greatest strength. She paused, her multifaceted eyes scanning the rapt faces around her. I've seen how your capacity for love drives you to protect not just your own, but all life on your planet. I've witnessed how your curiosity pushes you to reach beyond the known, to imagine possibilities that we Luminans might dismiss as improbable. But most of all, she continued, her skin pulsing with vibrant patterns of admiration, I've seen your resilience. In the face of a threat that could have ended your civilization, you didn't just survive, you thrived. You came together, setting aside differences that once seemed insurmountable, and achieved the impossible. The room had fallen silent, hanging on Zora's every word. Even her translator seemed to be working overtime, conveying not just the meaning of her words, but the depth of emotion behind them. When I return to Lumina, I will tell my people that we have much to learn from Earth. Yes, we have advanced technology, but you have something equally valuable, an indomitable spirit, a creativity that knows no bounds, and a capacity for cooperation that extends beyond the boundaries of your own species. Zora's inner lights glowed with an intensity that made several humans blink in surprise. I believe this is just the beginning. The shield we created together is more than a defense against solar flares. It's a symbol of what we can achieve when we combine the strengths of our two worlds. Imagine what we could accomplish if we continue to work together. The scientific advancements, the exploration of the cosmos, the exchange of culture and ideas. As Zora finished speaking, the room erupted into applause. Humans pressed forward, eager to shake her hand or express their agreement. In that moment, the differences between species seemed to fade away, replaced by a shared vision of a future filled with possibilities. Later that evening, as the celebrations continued around the world, Zora stood with Elena on the roof of the facility, gazing up at the star-filled sky. The shield, no longer needed, had been deactivated, leaving the heavens clear and bright. You know, Elena said softly, when we first detected that solar flare, I thought it might be the end of everything. Now, I can't help but feel it was just the beginning. Zora's skin shimmered in agreement. Indeed, Dr. Rodriguez, we've taken the first step on a long journey. There will be challenges ahead, misunderstandings to overcome, new threats to face. But if there's one thing I've learned about humans, it's that you're at your best when the odds are against you. Elena laughed, a sound that Zara had come to associate with the warmth and joy of human companionship. Well, with friends like you by our side, I'd say the odds are looking pretty good. As they stood there, a human and a Luminan united in friendship, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. The cosmos, vast and mysterious, no longer seemed like a void to be feared, but a frontier to be explored together. The solar flare that had threatened to end one world had instead birthed a new era of interstellar cooperation, and as Earth continued its journey through the cosmos, it did so with a new understanding of its place in the universe and a newfound ally in the endless dance of the stars. Zora's mission to Earth was ending, but the story of human and Luminon cooperation was just beginning. As she prepared for her journey home, Zora knew that she was carrying with her not just scientific data, but a message of hope, a testament to the incredible potential that exists when different worlds come together in the spirit of discovery, innovation, and mutual respect. The future, bright with promise, awaited.